Greetings and welcome to the Dr. J Vlog series. It is Sunday, May 4th, 2025. May the 4th be with you. And on Sundays, we look at the purpose and meaning of life. So there's a famous quote that's attributed to Mark Twain. The two most important days of your life are the day that you're born and the day that you find out why. Well, I certainly don't remember the first, but the second naturally speaks to the key issue that we're dealing with today, right? The purpose and the meaning of your life. Why are you here? I don't mean to be rude. I mean, why are you here in that broader existential sense? In my case, why am I still here? Some of you will know from my very first vlog in the series that my son sometimes referred to me as Lazarus. And you might recall that almost exactly 4 years ago, it was May of 2021, that I actually died twice from a massive saddle pulmonary embolism. But apparently it wasn't my time. And it's funny because I'd made a couple of significant changes in my life just a few years earlier, and I felt like I was finally on the right pathway. And then I died. So are you frustrated that you have not experienced or yet lived that second most important day in your life? That you haven't found out exactly why you're here? Maybe why you were born? Well, don't be. Relax. It'll come, if it hasn't already. For me, it had taken almost 6 decades for that day to actually arrive. Perhaps ironically, living that day involved for me dying. But I don't think you actually have to die to find out why you were born. That's a bit risky in any event. If I'd been alone on that particular day, I'd have stayed dead, literally. Many people have died from pulmonary embolisms, or PEs. From the great actor Jimmy Stewart, the well-known country singer Charlie Rich, Charlie Chaplin Jr., running back Dwayne Thomas, who I watched when I was a kid, basketball player Jerome Kersey, it's almost exactly the same age as myself. They all died from PEs. Jack Ruby, the guy who shot Lee Harvey Oswald, he died of a PE. Political commentator Michael Brooks, he died from the condition less than a year before I almost followed him. And oddly enough, an author that I'd always liked by the name of Richard Carlson, I mentioned him in one previous vlog. We both share exactly the same birthday, but he was famous for his book, among others, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and It's All Small Stuff. I really quite like that book. And he died of a pulmonary embolism on a flight to New York back in 2006, which was the same year that his final book came out, titled You Can Be Happy No Matter What, 5 Principles for Keeping Life in Perspective. And so I'll actually be talking about that particular work on Wednesday's vlog on emotional well-being and relationships. For today, though, I wanted to emphasize that you don't have to wait until you die to figure out the purpose and the meaning of your life. So instead, I'd like to share a few principles to help you do that actually today, if you haven't already. And even if you've done so already, that's okay. All right? You'll still, I think, benefit or hopefully appreciate some of these reminders. Okay, so here's how I think, well, what I think of as being kind of the key life hack, if you will, to determining your purpose and meaning in life. So you can read any of the many, over 100,000 different books that have been written on the subject matter or that have the purpose or meaning of life somewhere in their titles or in their table of contents, if you will. But of course, that would take quite a while. So instead, let's just use the Adam Leipzig approach. He's the former Disney executive and the CEO of Entertainment Media Partners. He did a TED Talk, which I'll link below. But we'll use his approach. So first, start with answering a simple question. Who are you? That is, what's your name? Because that's important. That's how you identify yourself to others, and that's how you announce yourself to the world. without conceit or bravado, but speak your name clearly to let people know who you are. You matter. So when you introduce yourself, state firmly and confidently what your name is and how you'd like to be addressed. And by the way, that can change with the setting. So for here, I'm Dr. J for the Dr. J vlog series. But I go by other names too, again, depending on the context. Second, what do you love to do? What are you passionate about? What comes naturally to you in terms of how and where you enjoy directing your energies? Do you love to work with your hands or to build things or figure out how things work? Do you love to paint or otherwise create images from your mind's eye? Perhaps you love to design things or to cook, or you like problem solving. Maybe you just like talking to people about their problems. Maybe you have a passion for crunching numbers, or accounting, or writing code, or developing apps or video games. You might love to teach or coach. Maybe you love kids, or animals, or just spending time with family. Perhaps you love to study languages, or sing or play an instrument. Do you love nature, or gardening, or landscaping? When you get up in the morning then, and if you can imagine having complete freedom every day to do precisely what you love, what would you choose to do? How would you like to fill your days? But there's a catch. Because even though you're at the center of your own personal universe, it's not just about you. So yes, you get to pick and choose what you love to do. That's great. Identify first what you truly, passionately love to do, and for that matter, what do you feel most qualified about to teach other people? What can you share in a deeply meaningful way with other people? And so that then leads us to the third question you have to answer. Who do you do it for? Beyond yourself, beyond your personal satisfaction. You don't want to just be self-centered or make it all about you. If you only are doing this because it's gratifying to yourself, then that's almost assuredly not your main purpose in life. So identify first what you love to do. What are you qualified to do? And then answer, well, who am I doing it for? Who's my target audience in all of this? Whose lives do you hope to impact with whatever it is that you do, with whatever gifts you have to share? And that's crucial. Again, unless you're a castaway, a la Tom Hanks, and end up on a deserted island, you have to be able to connect what you love to do with others and who might stand to benefit from what you do. And again, that's the key. If you find that things that you love to do have no real benefit to anyone else besides yourself, or even worse, if what you love to do involves hurting others, then that's obviously not your main purpose in life. Your true love and passion and purpose must have some relevance and some value to other people as well. By the same token, whatever it is that you love to do is ultimately going to make you rich, or better said, will enrich you. Some of you will actually make tons of money based on what you love to do and fulfilling your life's purpose. Others of you will be enriched mainly from the joy that you bring others, the joy that you've created in other people's lives. So again, I'm not disparaging the money aspect at all. It's always great to be able to earn money at what you love to do. I've always loved coaching, mainly at the youth level and as a volunteer. I've never earned a penny doing any of that, despite the literally thousands of hours that I've spent coaching. But I've been paid over and over again because I've had the privilege of working with so many young people and helping them to improve, helping them to gain confidence, or just experience the joy of playing organized sports. If I'd made coaching my profession, perhaps I could have made pretty good money at that, like my friend Tommy Amaker, the longtime men's basketball coach at Harvard. So in finding and fulfilling your purpose in life, don't worry about the money as such. That may or may not be the byproduct of what you love to do. Hopefully it is. In my case, I've been a university professor for almost 40 years. And so clearly that's at the core of my life's purpose. And I've been able to earn a living as a teacher. LeBron James, in contrast, has vastly different talents and abilities and a different life purpose. And that's great. Just so happens that he also happens to love what he does and where he thrives in terms of his life's work. In his case, that pays him millions of dollars. But I can't complain. If that's what I were meant to do, if that were my life's purpose, I'd have been a professional basketball player, and I'd have earned millions as well. Of course, I'd have to have been a lot better in order to get there. So clearly that wasn't in the cards for yours truly. Okay, so again, with that, whom do you serve? Or who benefits from what you love to do? And what, and quite frankly, without being cocky about it, what are you really good at doing? And then fourth, ask yourself whether anyone wants or needs anything that you're really good at doing. Is there some kind of demand for what you're doing? So for example, you might like to make music, and feel free to do whatever you like in that regard. But if there's no one listening or even interested in listening, then that's probably not your life's purpose. It may be personally, again, self-gratifying, but it's probably not your life's purpose. There has to be some demand, even at the micro level. So for example, what if you're a parent? In other words, is there a demand for good parenting? Absolutely. If you have kids, then there's obviously demand for your services. So let's hope that you do that well. And for some, that is their life purpose, or they view their kids or raising children as their main purpose in life. Many of us have done that. And for most of us, that is a key part of who we are. But being a caregiver isn't necessarily your main or certainly your sole purpose in life. Maybe it is, and that's fine. You have to figure that out. And so, in addition then to the idea of being a parent, and of course many people these days are not going to be parents, so that's fine too. But you then have to ask yourself, regardless of your target audience, how do people change or benefit from what you do, from what you find yourself doing, based on your understanding of what you see as your life's main purpose? Do you employ a dozen or even 100 people in a business that you believe in? If so, perhaps you've truly found your passion and your life's purpose in that particular venture. Do you make children feel safe and strong and confident? Do you make audiences of people laugh and forget about their troubles? Do you keep the roads clean and safe for people to travel? Do people feel inspired or happy or relieved because of your efforts in whatever sphere that might be? So whatever you do, ask yourself and then remind yourself of who's benefiting from your efforts, whose lives are being changed or transformed as a result of you fulfilling your life's purpose. If you can do that, or when you do that, you'll have a pretty good sense of exactly what that central purpose tends to be, at least for yourselves. So in short, the first two issues are about you. Who are you? And what do you do? But the last three are about others. Whom do you do it for? What do those people want and need? And how are their lives positively affected by what you do? And so here's the final piece. Sometimes you'll be asked, or it's a common exchange when you meet someone to say, well, so what do you do for a living? And once you've identified your purpose and your mission in life, that's really how you should be finding your answer to that question. Regardless of whether you have a job or not, regardless of your current circumstances. You can always answer that broader question, focusing instead on the last of the 5 questions. How are people's lives affected positively by what you do? So if you're a real estate agent, the short answer might be, well, I'm a real estate agent. Simple enough. But if that's your way of fulfilling your life's purpose, then if you really want to dive a little bit more deeply into it, then maybe your answer is something more like, I help people navigate the complexities of the housing market to find the best home possible for their situation. From taking the leap and buying their first home to selling their beloved family home. See the difference? Again, nothing wrong with being a real estate agent. But if that's your purpose in life, it's more involved than, quote unquote, just being a real estate agent. And by the way, if none of that I just said isn't true about you as a real estate agent, all right, and you say, if the answer is more like, I sell as many homes as I can or as fast as I can so that I can make a ton of money. Well, then 2 things. 1, you are probably not fulfilling your true life's purpose if that's what's driving you in real estate. And 2, or secondly, you might be an a-hole. You might want to rethink the whole real estate thing. Or someone asks you what you do, and you say something like, well, I help people by spreading empathy through storytelling. Well, that'll almost certainly prompt a follow-up question. Oh, really? How do you do that? Oh, I'm a musician, and I write songs about people's experiences. Or I'm a children's author, and I write books that inspire young people to understand what it is that they're going through. In my case, I'll meet someone and they'll ask me what I do, and guess what I never say? I don't know. I didn't understand why I didn't say this, but I stopped saying it years ago. I never say, I'm a university professor, even though technically that's mainly what I am. Or I don't say, I'm the inaugural King's University Research Excellence Chair. All the pomp and circumstance around the title. But the short answer might be, and typically it's more along the lines of, I teach the social sciences at the university. Something like that. If we have a bit more time, then I might say something like, well, I work mostly with young adults to help them find their voices and realize their potential on their intellectual and life journeys. Seriously. And then usually that opens things up like, oh, wow, how do you do that? And then I can talk about the teaching experiences and life at the university and literally thousands of students that I've encountered over the years at various stages in their life journey. They're writing different chapters. And so that's my advice. Orient yourself and your identity with your main purpose and mission. And people will quickly see that you're authentic, that you are who you say you are. And they'll probably be quite interested in that. Most times people will actually start to gravitate to you because you'll be giving off warmth and positive energy. But whatever life brings, whatever the ups and downs, you can always take comfort in knowing then that you're on the right pathway in terms of fulfilling your life's mission. So again, hopefully you can go through these questions, these issues I've raised today. If you haven't already identified your life's purpose and mission, then carefully rewind, listen again, answer these questions, and give it some serious thought. And soon enough, hopefully, you'll discover or rediscover what your main purpose is in life. All right, until next time, may you and yours continue to create peace in your lives, nurture love in your hearts, and dole out hugs in abundance. And thanks for being you. And thanks for doing whatever it is that you do. We'll see you soon.